Hello everyone and welcome back to another EV Geek podcast review. I am Joel, as always he is Sebastian, and this is a 2025 Ford Mustang Mach-E Select, courtesy of Everett Ford here in Benton, Arkansas. This awesome, cool Glacier, I believe it's called Glacier Gray with a black interior. So we're going to get into the updates here in a little bit of how the 25 model is different from the 24 model. But Sebastian, first impressions.
Yeah, so just first off, I think this is our first time in a base Mach-E.
It is.
So this is the Select trim, as you mentioned. This has the LFP battery pack. There's some improvements for 2025. I think it looks really good. I appreciate that they've moved kind of to these nicer wheels on the base model. And there's some creature comforts on this vehicle that we'll talk about as we go that are now standard across the line, which is really nice to see. And yeah, I think it looks good. The Mach-E is one of those cars that I think has aged really well. Like, it still looks good, even though at this point, the Mach-E came out in what, 2021? Mm-hmm. So at this point, it's a 4-year-old model, and I think it still looks good for it to be a 4-year-old car. I love the little like fake roof line and stuff they do on the design. This is a car that I find myself looking at a lot, just kind of in my use search of, what if I bought a new car? And so yeah, I'm excited to check this out and see what's all good new for 2025.
All right, so as with our other reviews, we'll do a little quick tour of the outside, talk about the inside, infotainment and driving, and then head back to Everett and give you our final impressions, so stay tuned. All right, Sebastian, why don't you give us a quick exterior tour of the Mustang Mach-E 2025.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this one is Glacier Gray. I think the color looks really good. Coming up here, front driver's side, you have your charge port. It is still, for 2025, a CCS port. I do like that it's spring loaded. It's not power, it's spring loaded. CCS port, can charge Tesla superchargers with an adapter, which this one actually has the adapter, and we'll take a look at it because it's the Ford branded Electron co-developed adapter. It's a pretty neat little thing. I do appreciate you also have a button here to start and stop charging.
Has the charge speeds changed on the 2025?
No, so this still advertises 150 kilowatt peak. So this being the base model has the 73 kilowatt hour battery pack. This is the LFP pack. EPA range is 240.
Gotcha.
Coming around, you still get the funny little Mach-E door handles where you have the little pull here and a button. You push the button, pops it open. You also still have your keypad.
Wow.
So if you don't have your key, you can use it that way, and you can set the code on the screen, which is nice. Rear door, you have the button but no handle, because these have a little plunger that pops out.
Auto present.
And you can actually see it come in and out on the door whenever you open it.
You want to hop in the back, see how the room is?
We'll do it in a second.
Sure.
Let's look at trunk. So this being a base model, this is one of the first things I noticed because I went to put my stuff back here. You don't get a power liftgate, which is a little odd. However, these are like the world's strongest trunk struts. Like, you can fill and pull when you try to shut it. Always forget, Mach-E has a really decent sized trunk, and I think it's partially because, as we mentioned, it has that black roof line to make it look more kind of sedan-y. And so you forget that it is actually just a full size, not a full size, but it's a normal size crossover. So you can come back here, you see you got good space here. You've got under trunk area, a little decent size with some pockets.
This has visor, a trunk cover.
EVSE, this has a trunk cover. And here is that adapter we have, which this is actually my first time looking at the Electron Ford adapter. You can see it says Ford, so this is co-developed. So these are sold by Ford, they're built with Electron, and there's one big difference between the two. This has and I don't know if you can see that on the camera, there's an interlock on the CCS side. And so you can see right now I can open up latches on both sides, but if we come around here real quick to the charger, or charge port, they have designed this to where you're supposed to plug it into the Tesla supercharger and then plug it into your car. And if you try to do it out of order, that little interlock in there will keep you from opening the NACS latch
gotcha, okay.
while it's in the vehicle. So you have to unplug it from the vehicle before you separate the adapter.
Gotcha.
Which is neat.
I never knew that. Yep.
Happy to see, that Ford went through effort of actually kind of trying to develop an adapter and not just either buying one off the shelf or things like that.
Gotcha. And as Sebastian mentioned, these are new rims for the base model. These are 19 inches. Very sweet looking.
Get that back into package. And then we will look at is the back seat. You also have a 12-volt outlet back here, which is nice, as well as cargo light.
There you go.
Pop that closed. Manual, as mentioned, requires a little bit of oomph. Let's look here. Pop that open so you can take a little quick glance, just kind of there. So this is the dark interior, as mentioned before. This being the base model.
Still has the vegan leather in it, yep.
Yep, this being the base model, you don't have anything like heated seats or anything back here. You do have air vents, which is nice. You also have USB ports down there on the floor.
2 USB-Cs, yep. Plenty of headroom. I remember, I think in the last Mach-E, was I hitting the roof? I don't know.
I don't remember you hitting the roof. I mean, the headliner has not changed.
Yep.
As far as I know, the headroom and everything like that's the same. But I mean, it's a compact crossover, so it's not like huge back there. But there's enough
plenty of room. You can get into.
I'm 6 foot tall. I usually have issues with headroom, it seems. And yeah, I'm fine. This is perfectly adequate. Glass roof would be nice.
It would.
Which
I'm sure you get those on the
higher trim levels, right? Yep. Only other thing to look at here is it does have a front trunk, and you can pop it on the key, not those keys.
A Chevy Bolt key will not get us into this.
There you go. On these keys, you've got a button here, so you can also pop the trunk from here. You have your trunk and front, so you'll double tap.
There it is.
You'll hear it pop. Open it up. And it's not a huge front trunk. This is the all-wheel drive model, which I believe means is part of why you get a smaller one. However, you notice you have a little spot for like a drink or whatever.
And since it's an all-wheel drive, we also get the little hit in the range too with this, don't we?
Yep, and that's why it's 240. Yep. You can see you've also got your wiper fill up here. I don't see brake fluid. I'm assuming it's probably all under here.
This cover looks like it would come off.
Yeah, because you can see it actually tells you brake fluid, fuses, 12-volt battery. Nice.
Yep.
And you do have little, I'm curious, now I'm going to start taking apart their car. Oh, headlight adjustment? Okay.
That's really nice to know, yes.
Cool. Anyway, pop that close, and not a whole lot else to look at on the outside of this thing. You can take a peek at the front real quick. You can see, I believe this is also new for 2025, maybe it was 2024. They added all trim levels, get the LED daytime running lights. You can also see on the front you have some active aero shutters down here in the lower grille area, as well as the Mach-E mustache.
That's right. All right, why don't we head inside and look at the interior and look at the infotainment?
Sounds good.
All right, Sebastian, let's go over some quick interior features.
Yeah, so first off, there are some things in here that are different for 2025. I'm going to crank the air up just a tiny bit so that maybe the fan's not blowing as hard.
It is a toasty day here in the city.
It is warm. It's already 82 degrees and it's 9 a.m. anyway. So coming in here, one of the first things you notice, the dial shifter is gone. No more dial shifter.
Yay.
You have more storage. You have a spot here that's perfect size for something like a phone. I'm going to grab your phone.
Sure.
Boom.
Boom.
Nice size.
There's a reason why we talk about why you got the phone there. Yep.
They moved the shifter. You now have a column shifter, which I actually really like on this car. You pop down for drive, pop up for reverse, hit the end for park. Makes sense. And because of that, you have more space here. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this. So you have a console here. Slide that back, you have your little center console area, 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt outlet. Here's your, oh no, my key is dead spot. And this is neat. You'll notice there's your little channel here. If you pull this out, you can see it actually has a spot in here for you to route and clip in your cable. And then you can pass it through into the bottom of this rubber pocket so that you can always have a phone charger here.
And you don't see the ugly cables.
And you don't have to see the cable, right. Gotcha. This does also have wireless phone pad on this side here. And you'll see it should pop up and say it's charging here in a second, maybe. There it goes, charging. Yep. And I like it should stay fairly in place. It's got this little lip here. It actually seems like it's the perfect size for your phone.
Yep. Because I have the best phone.
Because you have the best phone, I guess. This being the base model, one thing I was a little bummed to see, no heated seats.
No heated seats.
And obviously no heated steering wheel, which was an interesting omission. Because, I mean, MSRP on this is 43 grand.
Yep.
That said, this does now come standard. You can get Blue Cruise, and it's Blue Cruise 1.5, which is the newest version of Blue Cruise, which adds in things like automatic lane changes while hands-free, which is nice. They've also gone in, let's see here, that's, I think 2025 is also first model year. You have like different ways you can purchase Blue Cruise. So it comes with a 90-day trial. You can also pay for it yearly. And they have the ability, you can pay a one-time activation fee. So if you want to just have, you want Blue Cruise the entire time you own the car, and you were going to own the car longer than it would, long enough, it would be beneficial to just to go ahead and pay for it all up front.
If you know you're going to have it for 5 years.
Versus paying it yearly. Yes. And I like that they give you that option. So like you can do a subscription if you're someone who's leasing and I'm only going to have the car for 2 years. It doesn't make sense to pay for a lifetime license. But if you're going to have the car for 5 years, 6 years, whatever, then it makes sense. Let's see here. It's so weird looking down and not seeing the dial. We like Mach-E on this channel. It's a nice little comfortable car. Coming in here, infotainment system. So this one is not tied to a Ford account yet, so I can't actually do some of the features. However, I do believe they now will actually route to Tesla superchargers, which is nice. And you actually see that if you go into the public charging app and let it load. When you come in here to filters, you have the ability to tell it, oh, I don't have an adapter, and you can actually hide them from the list, which is nice.
Okay.
You can also filter things by plug-in charge compatible,
That
etc.
works too.
You can do, say, I only want ones that are on the Ford Pass. Is that what they call it? I don't know what they call their Ford network. I'm so sorry.
Put it in the notes. Y'all let us know what it's called.
Come in here. This is all largely the same, where you have your drive modes, unbridle, engage, whisper. You can open the front and trunk from here at the top. You have you turning one pedal on or off, turn off if it sounds, auto hold, all that makes sense. Not a whole lot here has changed. I believe 2025, they all come standard now with phone as a key.
Yes, they do.
Which is great. You can come up here. I want to show real quick. Ford has finally added the ability to, if you come in here to charge settings, you can just set a one-time limit. So previously this was, if I remember right, it was tied to locations. So like you could set a charge limit at home and set charge limit at work and whatnot, but you couldn't just come in here and just, you know,
just
set
routinely
all the time.
Yes.
You know, this, you know, stay set.
You have departure times and all
you
that.
You do department chimes, preferred charge times, all that makes sense. You can also come in here and you can limit your AC charge rate, and you can limit all the way down to 5 amps.
If you're going to be parked at a level 2 charger for a week, charge at 5 amps.
Yeah.
So.
Also like the way they word, if your breaker has tripped multiple times, you might need to lower the current. Because that's the only situation according to Ford. According to Ford, that's the only reason you would need to do that. Wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, which is nice. And Ford, in the way, especially in iOS 26, the way that handles this vertical screen is a lot better, because you can do iOS 26 is adding, I think they call it like smart display zoom, where it'll actually like give you, instead of like a 3x3 of your apps, it'll give you like a 4x4 or whatever. It'll take up more of that real estate instead of just looking comically large. Let's see, what else do I want to say on here? Am I missing anything, Joel?
I think we got it all.
They've slightly changed the look on the gauge screen here, which this is not a super configurable menu or anything, but you see you have your driver assistance here, speed on the right, and your charge percent on the left. It just looks a little cleaner and a little more modern, and you can actually come into this here and change it from, it does have a dark mode, which is nice. Wrong one. Dark.
There you go.
Cool. I'm gonna put it back on auto, because it makes it a little easier to see. You can see the center screen also has a dark mode, obviously. Put it back on auto. Nice. You do get 360 camera standard, which is nice, and you can do the same thing you can do in the other Ford EVs, where you can come up here and you can pop around the view, you can zoom in on the corner, etc. And then you've got your front camera here at the top, and you can actually change to a not warp view, which is cool. You can also do this to only show like parking sensors. And yeah, I can't think, I'm trying to just make sure in my head. Okay, like I mentioned, you do have Blue Cruise 1.5. And you can come in here, you can see all your settings for here. So like if you hit lane keep, nope, not lane keep, what was it? Cruise control? Yeah, so you can see you can turn on or off whether or not you want to do in-lane repositioning, lane change assist, automatic lane change. Do you want it to automatically adjust the speed limits based on where you're driving while you're in Blue Cruise, which is really nice. And then you have more settings here. You can turn on a speed warning, which, yeah.
Yep. Every time we switch speeds.
Yeah, no thank you. And so yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to really talk about here. I'm trying to remember. There wasn't a lot of big changes for 2025.
Never.
So Blue Cruise was a huge one. 2025 adds a heat pump. Yep. Which if you live somewhere with a colder climate is awesome. They've added some new like design packages for the premium trim, where you can get a premium and make it look like a GT.
3 new colors.
3 new colors. There's a new magenta color. There's a new blue.
Which we saw on a Mustang, regular Mustang.
On a regular Mustang. There's a new blue, which I think looks really good. And then there's a desert sand color. I think all 3 of the new colors are awesome.
Yep. Also, they lowered the base price too.
Yes, the base price is a little cheaper.
About $36.9 right now.
36 for the rear-wheel drive Select, yeah. Which this one is all-wheel drive. And so yeah, I think at this point, we should get cameras set up, and we should go take it for a drive.
Let's do it. All right, we are out on the main roads here. Sebastian's behind the wheel. I got the driver from the dealership. So, Sebastian, it's been a while since we've driven a Mach-E. Probably 6-8 months maybe since we've driven a Mach-E.
Something like that.
So, how's the drive?
Yeah, so we've just been city roads so far. I always forget how quiet it is in Mach-E.
Yes.
They do a really good job of doing sound isolation in this thing, which you can see it says on the windshield. It says
and we're beside
a
heavy-duty diesel too. You can maybe hear that a little, so yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, that's like worst case scenario.
Yep.
I'm sure he just sprayed diesel exhaust all over the pretty paint.
Because he loves us.
It's got good power. We are in unbridled mode, of course. So I said they redesigned the screen. I like the new little animations for like as you hit the pedal.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Like how the triangles grow and then you have your regen, which is nice. I like that. You can also, driving around, suspension feels good.
It does.
Which they've repaved this section recently, but like we just came through down the Boone Road back there, and it didn't feel bad at all.
It was not a very well paved road.
I'm excited to get out on the interstate to check out the new Blue Cruise and all the automatic lane change and whatever. We're not going to spend that much time on it. I don't want to this car has 17 miles on it.
Yes.
They're not usually this low by the time we get our hands on them.
And we got it with a whopping 24% state of charge.
So we're not going to go super far.
We got 50 miles to play with.
It's like we could go charge it, but at the same time we kind of know what it is. It's a 150 kilowatt peak. I think they tell him like 35 minutes, 10 to 80 on this pack, which is meh, it's fine.
Average.
It's about average for this class of vehicle right now.
Yep.
But yeah, just out here on the road, like there's some wind noise you can hear, but it's really not like
it rides very similar to my wife's Kia EV6.
Well, I think it's quieter than the EV6.
It's quieter, and it also sits higher than
it does sit higher. That is one. So like I like that it sits higher. The seat doesn't get low enough. I wanted the seat to be a little lower.
You're more torso, I'm more legs, so you tend to sit higher in the seats.
Yeah, I did, because I got in here and I went to adjust the seat and I was like, oh, that's as low as it goes.
I drove over and it was in the same spot and it was fine for me.
Yeah. That said, like the seats themselves are comfortable. I do wish you got heated seats on the Select. I kind of am in the party that all electric cars should come standard with heated seats.
I think that is true. And a rear view mirror camera, as we said before.
That honestly doesn't have to be standard, but for me, like, you know, because the whole thing with EVs, which just does have a heat pump, which helps.
Yep.
But you know, running the heat burns more energy than say heated seats and all that. And so I've always been the person who, if I'm hypermiley in my mind, I might not have the heat set as low and use the heated seats more to compromise kind of on that.
That is the Tesla approach to heating your car. They rather jack up the heat on your heated seats and cut back on the heat coming out from the heat pump.
But in this, you know, you don't have that option. Yes. And so that's why I'm like, I think all EVs should have heated seats.
So you may not know this, and I don't remember this. What is the range for this model with the rear-wheel drive?
Do not remember. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. My gut is saying it might be 260.
I was thinking 260, 270.
But I cannot for the life
I was
of me
thinking 268 or 272. I don't know why those two numbers float in my head, but you'll see it down below right now.
By the way, Joel, if you want to reach out to these guys over here, they have a Spark EV.
Oh, they do?
Spark EVs are fun. They have like 400 pound-feet of torque.
It's kind of like Spark EV, very similar to your Bolt.
It's smaller.
It's smaller.
Smaller. Yeah. Anyway, aside, not the subject of this video. I see it every time I'm over here.
The gas station that has a Spark EV.
Well, it's behind the gas station.
Oh, it's behind there's a dealership back there.
There is a tiny little dealership back there.
I thought you were talking about the gas station.
No.
That makes no sense. And we digress.
But I digress. Anyway.
Yes. How's the one-pedal driving on this?
So it's kind of the same, I feel, on the other Ford EVs. It's not as strong as I want it to be, and maybe I'm just spoiled with driving GM cars where the one-pedal driving is like the strongest thing in the world.
Will throw you into the windshield.
And that's it. It's very easy to get used to. You know, I've got it turned on. I'm using it like right now. It feels fine. I'm just not getting thrown into the windshield, which we've driven a lot of GM stuff recently, so maybe I'm just not used to it. Because even in my Bolt, it feels like
going around these sharp turns is really
going around sharp corners is nice, and I mean, I'll give it a lean. You got a little bit of body lean on this one, but this isn't the performance trim, so that makes sense.
Yep.
Gonna get out here.
Give it a little goose.
Give it a little goose, not too much. Need to adjust my mirrors, I can't see out this side. Oop, there we go. Gonna get over it. We're gonna merge onto the interstate. This is a weird thing to nitpick. I don't like the turn signal noise.
Too loud?
It sounds to me like someone's just like tapping the plastic. Yeah. I don't know. It's a little weird click. Doesn't matter.
The weird things that bother you.
Should not justify or be a reason for anyone's vehicle purchase decision. Yes. But I just am like, I don't love it.
So I also believe that 2025s now, it does show you state of charge when charging, correct?
Don't remember. I know they added that to Lightning.
And we're getting a Lightning a little bit, so we may be able to figure that out with that. So,
all right, so I'm gonna set cruise, and it's not telling me, and it might be because it's not activated.
Yep.
Oh, Blue Cruise on. There you go, hands free. So I like it. Automatically kicked it. We should see. I'm actually going to bump our speed up a little bit.
Screen turns blue up there. Yep.
It does turn blue. That's actually kind of cool. I'm going to bump our speed up and see if it will pass a car. Oh, initiating lane change. Slower vehicle ahead.
Look at us.
Look at that. So that is the one thing that's been missing on Blue Cruise for a long time. You know, you've been able to do lane changes by tapping the turn signal for a while, but being able to have it just like actively move and get out of the way, super nice. Like, that is a huge quality.
And Blue Cruise has a lot more mapped highways as compared to Super Cruise with GM, correct? Or is it vice versa?
I think it's vice versa now because Super Cruise has added in non-interstate highways.
Non-interstate, that's right. So you state roads, things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ford will be adding that soon. We're doing another lane change.
We're really getting over.
Yeah, I'm sure Ford will start adding some of that soon, you know, to keep it level, keep level playing field. But for now, as far as I know, they haven't.
Don't feel the ping pong effect in here.
No, it's staying dead straight. Yeah. And I love on, like, even with Blue Cruise, like if I want to say, oh, I don't want to be that close to that truck, you can in-lane reposition and it doesn't disable the system.
Gotcha.
Which is really nice. I do wish it doesn't show as many visualizations on the screen of like cars around you.
You're right. It doesn't show you like what's in front of you, what's beside you.
But that's okay because I mean, ultimately, you have eyes. You can just look out the window and lane change, leaving passing lane. I like the communication.
So, yes. That's one thing with Tesla. It will leave you in that left lane for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I like the level of communication you're getting. Okay, it does show you cars in front of you.
Okay.
It just doesn't show like on
I wonder if it sensed that car behind you and then got you over.
It probably did. Yes. I'm gonna get over because we're gonna pop off the interstate right here. We're not gonna do a huge drive on the interstate because ultimately we've driven Mach-E before. Out here on the highway, you can hear there's a little bit more tire and road noise, but it's still fine. We're not talking extra loud or anything. Like we can have a good conversation. You can see now if you look at the screen where it shows you, you can see that truck in front of us. Although it's showing the truck is just another Mach-E, which is funny.
Every car
is a Mach-E.
Every car's a Mach-E.
But yeah, out here on the interstate, it drives. It's perfectly fine. This would be a comfortable car. I would want, if I was buying one for myself, I would want the big battery.
And the ventilated seats.
And yes, I would want one that has at least heated seats. Heated and ventilated would be nice.
See, that would be opposite. I'd rather have ventilated seats than heated.
Yeah, but you typically can't get one without the other.
I know.
We're going to hop off the interstate here and head back to the dealership and we'll do our final thoughts.
See you in a bit. All right, we have made it back to Everett Ford here in Benton, Arkansas. Final thoughts, Sebastian.
Yeah, so every time we drive Mach-E, I forget how much I like driving Mach-E. It's a good car to drive, like as far as just like regular cruising, whatever. This, you know, is the select model. This isn't the performance model, so it doesn't necessarily drive like a performance car. That said, it has good pep. It's got, you know, good power. It feels good when you put your foot into it.
Great daily driver.
It would be perfect as a daily driver. The seats are comfortable. You've got good sound isolation. Suspension feels good. Like, it is a good car to drive. And I always forget about that until we eventually end up in a Mach-E again. And I'm driving, I was like, man, this is good.
I forgot about the Mach-E.
And so, yeah, I mean, ultimately, as far as like daily drivers go, this is great. I think that the price still needs to come down on these a little bit for them to truly like make a lot of sense. But
they work. It works.
It works. And ultimately, it's not that far off from what other manufacturers are charging for similar packaging.
And does this, for the time being, does it qualify for their tax credit?
Don't remember. I'll put it on the screen.
Okay, gotcha.
There's some
models that do, some that don't, I believe.
Yeah, and it's gone back and forth over the last couple years, so I cannot keep track. There was a little while they were qualifying for like half the tax credit, the $3,750, and not the full tax credit. I'll put on the screen if you can currently get a Mach-E with a tax credit or not. And so yeah, so this one, you know, 43. I think you said base actually starts at 36.
36. That's probably for the rear-wheel drive model.
That's probably the rear-wheel drive model with no options, which is fine. This one's 43. I'd have to look. I think you can get a rear-wheel drive premium for less than 43, and that to me would be the one to get.
Gotcha.
Because that one at least has heated seats. It adds in some other little creature comforts that are nice, you know, and ultimately I think is a slightly better package.
Yeah. So for me, I love the upgrades that we made. We've talked about these cars needing a heat pump for a while. Helps with efficiency and things like that. I really like the new wheels you get on the space trim too. So excited with that. Like that they've updated Super Cruise. Like how they've updated now you have the Blue Cruise. Until we've been driving a lot of GM cars lately. Blue Cruise. I love how you have the lane change assist now automatic. You don't have to hit the stock anymore. So yeah, all the improvements that this car was needing, Ford listened and they made those improvements. Could bump up that DC fast charging a little bit. Like I said, it's 150 kilowatts.
Which is about normal, honestly, for this class of vehicle. Like, that's what Blazer, Equinox.
They all do that, yes.
Like, all of these Prologue, because that's just a you know,
Cadillac,
all of these in this like size category, except for Model Y. in the EGMP cars.
Yes.
Everyone else seems to be at that 150 number right now.
Yep.
Which that's a whole different discussion. That's not the topic of this video.
Yep.
But you have cars this size in China that charge at like 500 kilowatts.
Yep.
In like 10 to 80 in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something, and you're like, man, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Why is it taking us so long?
Anyway, not the subject of this video.
That's right. All right, thank you for joining us again on another EV Geek studio review. Once again, don't forget to hit subscribe, that notification icon, so you know when new content is going to be released. And we will see you again real soon. So long, everyone.